if you do not have love? So love and mercy go together. Question. You talked about the time of mercy and there is obviously a timetable, because 70 years ago on February 22nd, this image was seen for the first time by Saint Faustina. The Holy Father himself is special, because his mission on life is to bring in the time of mercy. Is there a timetable that Jesus has for mankind? Because I have heard from radio shows in America, that's not to say prediction, because the time and the place is known only to God, but we are obviously in these final times. What is expected of society when the Holy Father decreed Divine Mercy Sunday in the year 2000, and the bishops are indifferent to it, because the decree has gone out to the bishops, and therefore they are the ones to instruct the priests and they won't? We people are basically having to listen to the bishops and the priests, but if they don't speak of divine mercy, or follow the feast for us to celebrate, how do we raise that up? Answer. We raise it up by giving more information to the priests. Because some of the priests do not understand divine mercy, because they have not read about divine mercy, so we have to inform them. We can give them some leaflets, but before giving them information, we have to pray for them, that they will accept it, because, as I said, we cannot change a person. That's why we have to pray harder. And also, you see, divine mercy devotion is for salvation, saving life, saving souls. That is why the other side is also working the wolf. The other side will also work double time, because what you are doing is saving souls. Question. Does Jesus say anything about the scriptures? Answer. He did not mention it to me. Question. Stanley, how long were you dead? Answer. I was clinically dead for 3 days. By the way, because I'm often asked about that 3 o'clock prayer in the morning and the 3 o'clock prayer in the afternoon. Because last year, when I give my testimony at the Vatican in front of all the cardinals and bishops, there were 26 cardinals and 50 odd bishops. One of the cardinals asked me, what is the significance of the 3 o'clock prayer in the morning? Because there are so many answered prayers at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I answered, that is the time of his resurrection. And the cardinal stood up and said that this was true, that in the book, Jesus and Mary met at 4 o'clock in the morning. So they said, he must have resurrected at 3 o'clock. Question. Can you tell me, what was your illness? What did it consist of? Answer. Before what happened to me, I'm just going good. I have no illness. I'm very strong. This is why, after what happened to me, when I woke up, my wife was so stunned. She cannot believe it. So I went down to the billing section and paid the bill. Then I drive the car in going home. That's why one of the bishops in the Philippines commented that what happened to me was just an emergency meeting with the Lord. Question. Stanley, when you were at the Vatican talking to the bishops and cardinals, was the Holy Father there as well? Answer. No. He was scheduled to attend, but he was so tired and ill at the time. Question. With the cardinals and bishops from all over the world, what language did you speak in? Italian? Answer. English. Question. Italian? Answer. No. I said English. Question. When Jesus was preparing you for this trip to England, did he say anything to you about the people of England? Answer. Yes. People of England are very dear to him, but then much of them cause his heart to bleed, because England is losing faith. That is why I'm here, to increase faith. And now you heard from me. Do not keep to yourself, you have to multiply. Jesus said that, if you save a soul, you save your own. Stanley continues his travel around the world, telling of the amazing event that happened to him, and fulfilling the mission that Jesus sent him back to earth to complete, that is, to teach the message of divine mercy. To his apostle, Saint Mary Faustina, Jesus made a promise in regard to both the image and the praying of the Divine Mercy Chaplet. He gave conditions. What is prayed for is prayed with a contrite heart. That it is not against his will, in other words, it is doubtful this promise could be used to gain power and riches, which would be an abuse of his gift. He tells us that when the chaplet is prayed for a dying soul, that soul will receive his mercy, and not his justice. In a way, when a promise is given to us from heaven, then God, because he is just, is obliged to keep it. Here are a few personal accounts where the promise Jesus made to us through Saint Faustina has been fulfilled. Before the age of 15, Maureen enjoyed a normal healthy life. Then she was struck down with a very serious, slowly progressive but terminal disease called lymphedema. This is a disease that does not respond to medication and does not go into remission. Within the next 10 years Maureen had 50 operations and had lengthy confinements in hospital of up to a year at a time. Friends and relations suggested she should pray and put her trust in God. But Maureen could not understand why God had allowed her to get this disease in the first place and had lost her faith completely. Eventually her deteriorating condition necessitated the amputation of one leg. One evening, while Maureen was in hospital, her husband Bob went to see a film called Divine Mercy, No Escape, and there he became convinced of healing powers of intercession by Saint Faustina. Bob persuaded Maureen and the doctors that she should go to the tomb of Saint Faustina in Poland. They arrived in Poland on March 23, 1981, and Maureen went to confession for the first time since she was a young girl. At the tomb, now the shrine of St. Faustina, Maureen remembers saying in her cynical way, "Okay Faustina, I came a long way, now do something." To which she received this reply, "If you ask for my help, I will give it to you." Suddenly Maureen thought she was having a nervous breakdown. All the pain seemed to drain out of her body, and her swollen leg, which was due to be amputated shortly, went back to its normal size. When she returned to the USA, she was examined by 5 independent doctors who came to the conclusion that she was completely healed. They had no medical explanation for the sudden healing of this incurable disease. The accumulated evidence for this miracle was examined in consultation by 5 doctors appointed by the Sacred Congregation for the Causes of Saints. Having passed this test, it was examined by a team of theologians, and finally by a team of cardinals and bishops. The cure was accepted by all as a miracle. This miracle was used in the process of Saint Faustina's beatification on April 18, 1993, where she was titled Blessed. Yugo Festa was born in Vicenza, Italy in 1951. He was struck down at an early age with multiple sclerosis. Gradually his health deteriorated. This led to many other problems in his young life. By the age of 39 he was suffering from multiple sclerosis, muscular dystrophy and epilepsy. Early in 1990 his spine was becoming distorted, and he was having seizures daily. He had been continually attending doctors since he first contracted the disease, but they could do nothing for him. He decided there was nothing left to try but prayer. On the 28th April 1990 Yugo went with a pilgrimage to Rome. In his unfortunate situation he was introduced to Mother Teresa, who was in Rome at the time with a group whom he also became acquainted with. Yugo was invited along with this group to a retreat at the Shrine of Divine Mercy in Trent, but he refused. On leaving, one of the group, a nun, gave him 5 copies of the Divine Mercy image and a Divine Mercy medal. The following day, on the 29th of April, Yugo wore the medal and carried in his arms the images to be blessed to the papal audience at the Vatican. At the bottom of the steps to St. Peter's the Holy Father passed by. Yugo asked him to bless his Divine Mercy pictures. After blessing the pictures, the Pope asked him how he was. Yugo told him he felt very despondent and was at a crisis in his life. The Holy Father said, "How could you have a crisis with Jesus the Divine Mercy in your arms? Entrust yourself to him and pray to my Saint Faustina to intercede." With this advice, Yugo changed his mind and decided that he would go to the Divine Mercy Shrine in Trent. At the side altar in the Villa Rosantissima Villazano, Trent, there is a shrine to the Divine Mercy with a life-size icon of the Divine Mercy image. On the 4th day of praying in front of this icon, Yugo suddenly noticed the arms of the image stretch out to him, and a tremendous warmth flowed through his body. He found himself standing in his feet, no longer bound to his wheelchair, with his arms outstretched to the Lord, and he heard himself loudly praising Jesus the Divine Mercy. He saw Jesus coming down to him, his white garment blowing, as if in a breeze. He thought, "My God, this is the man from Galilee coming towards me." He heard Jesus say in a clear voice, "Rise up and walk." Yugo began to walk. All his ailments were at that instant cured, and he was more physically perfect than he had ever been in his life. On August 19, 1990, Yugo returned to the Vatican, and during a papal audience at Paul I Hall, he was taken to meet Pope John Paul XI again. He told him about the great grace he had received and thanked him for the words of inspiration, which led him to Trent, and resulted in this great miracle of divine mercy. He gave Pope John Paul a copy of the divine image, with the signatures on the back of the many people who witnessed the miracle on that day. Today Yugo Festa devotes his life to Jesus, voluntarily working in a hospital and spreading the message of divine mercy throughout Italy. Renato is a 57-year-old automotive mechanic and farmer, a loving husband to his wife Romy and a gentle father to their children. Industrious and frugal, Renato loved the daily toil of supervising and cultivating his own 4-hectare farmland in Tupi, South Cotabato. His wife Romy is a teacher at Notre Dame of de Angus College. In 1991, Renato underwent surgery for cancer in one kidney. After surgery, he received no recommendation for any follow-up treatment, such as chemotherapy. With good reason, Renato and his family thought he was free of the disease. In 1998, 7 years later, Renato was back in hospital suffering from severe stomach pains and weakness. An ultrasound showed 6 cancerous masses, between 3 and 12 centimeters, in diameter in his liver. The doctor explained that his case was unusual as metastasis generally occurred within 5 years, and usually it went to the lungs. But in Renato's case it took 7 years and spread to his liver. The doctor could do nothing. No treatment was recommended nor medication given. Excluding Renato, the doctor told his family that he had only 1 year left to live. It was then that Romy, his wife, began to pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet and joined a local prayer group with the intention of asking God for her husband's healing. Although Renato was not a Roman Catholic, as was his wife, he did attend Sunday Mass with his wife. He himself was a Methodist. He learned about the sacraments, unfortunately not given in his own denomination. He was eventually baptized Roman Catholic in order for him to receive the Holy Eucharist. While his disease was progressing, more people prayed for him. But it would seem that Renato's terminal illness was to become the cause of the conversion of the rest of his family, who did not believe in the existence of God. June 27, 1999, Renato was brought to St. Elizabeth Hospital in a critical condition. He had terrible chest pains and struggled to breathe. Laboratory tests and an ultrasound showed that the cancer had deteriorated his liver and had spread to his intestines. Water had also accumulated in his stomach, which caused great pain. 2 days later, he became so weak that he could no longer move unless he was turned on his side. Renato's family had no choice but to prepare him for death.